What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. And if you are on the podcast platforms listening to this, please do subscribe. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place. And let's get into this podversation / politics and BS. It's been a while since I've talked about anything politics related, honestly. I saw this story and I said, you know what, I'm going to talk about this because one, it is regarding the former governor of my state, my home state, South Carolina, Nikki Haley. And when I saw this headline, I really was not surprised by it, but I actually kind of laughed a little bit because I feel like this is like Nikki Haley's wake-up call to really show her how a lot of these people see her. And she, I believe, does not want to be seen that way. And that is as a woman who is not who she is. Listen, Nikki Haley, her middle name is allegedly Nikki. I don't know if that's really true because I haven't seen her birth certificate to know if that's the truth or not. People can change their names all the time. But the story is that she was born Nimrata Randhawa, and she was born to Indian immigrants. Nothing wrong with that. She was born in the States, but her parents are Indian immigrants. Her father's name is Ajit Singh Randhawa, and her mom's name is Raj Kaur Randhawa. And I might be messing up those pronunciations, honestly, but I don't do it intentionally. I'm just reading it the way that I think it is based on the way it's written. I'm just trying to sound it out, but I could be wrong. So it's definitely not to be funny or try to be comical about the names because that is not the intent. But again, she was born Nimrata Randhawa, and the story is claiming that her middle name is Nikki, which is a Punjabi name. But again, I don't know if that's true because people can change their names. People do it all the time, especially when someone is trying to assimilate into the culture that they are ingrained in. She was born here in the States, but her parents are both Indian immigrants. So it's not even that she's biracial where one of her parents is a different ethnicity and then the other parent is of Indian descent, like Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris's parents, the father, I believe, is Jamaican and her mother is Indian. So with Nikki Haley, she's a full-fledged Indian, but she just happened to be born in the States to Indian immigrants. And that's fine. But the story is that Ann Coulter, who is what they call a conservative pundit, she told Nikki Haley to go back to your own country. And that's why I wanted to talk about this story, because it's crazy because one, Nikki Haley, even though I'm not a fan of hers, she wasn't really that popular when she was in South Carolina, although she did have the governorship for 3 terms. It was just one of those things, I believe. But I feel that she said the right things at the right time when she was running. And then one of the times that she ran unopposed. So, like, who was going to beat her? But at any rate, she was born here. She was born in the States. And Ann Coulter, she went on what they are calling a racist rant against her when she's finding out that she's running for president. Listen, I don't know who Ann Coulter wants to be the president because the last time I heard, which was a while ago, she had turned her back on Donald Trump too. So I don't really know what she wants. But the story is that she's under fire for a racist tirade against Nikki Haley. So in an appearance on the Mark Simone Show podcast, Coulter made several xenophobic comments about Haley, the former governor of South Carolina who was born in the U.S. to Indian immigrant parents. Like I just said, this is a story I'm reading. She says, "Why don't you go back to your own country?" Coulter, known for her racist and anti-immigrant stances, attacked India as well. She says, her candidacy did remind me that I need to immigrate to India so I can demand they start taking down parts of their history. She said, what's with the worshiping of the cows? They're all starving over there. Did you know they have a rat temple where they worship rats? And Haley didn't respond to requests for comment. So Coulter also called her a bimbo and a preposterous creature, criticizing her for having advocated removing the Confederate flag from the grounds of the South Carolina State House in the wake of the 2015 massacre that happened at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston. And that church is not far from my grandmother's house in Charleston. So that story, honestly, Nikki Haley had no choice but to do what she did when she did it. I'm not saying she couldn't have said, no, I don't want to have this happen. But there was so much going on at that time when Dylann Roof went to that church and massacred all of those people at that church. And Obama was president at the time. If she did not make that move to take those things down, it would have hurt her political aspirations. Because listen, people like that, once they get into these governorship spaces, like the Ron DeSantis guy of Florida, he's the governor of that state. I don't know what it is, but they just get that president thing in their blood, and they feel that, okay, next stop, White House. Like, it doesn't mean that they're qualified to be the president or that they even should be the president, but she knew that she had those aspirations to try, not saying to be, but to try to become president one day, because she actually admitted it years ago. In 2012, she credited Hillary Clinton for aspiring her to even run for office in the state of South Carolina. In an interview back in 2012, she said, the reason I actually ran for office is because of Hillary Clinton. She said that when it comes to women running for office, there will be everybody that tells you why you shouldn't. But that's all the reasons why we need you to do it. And I walked out there thinking, that's it. I'm running for office. So we know Hillary Clinton has ran for president a few times, right? We knew that she served in the White House, and she was also the first lady for a couple of terms as well. So she knew that she had her eyes set on running for president at some point. And so when she tried to distance herself from Donald Trump after January 6, 2021, at first she was denouncing him. And then not long after that, she turned around and basically said, yeah, of course, if he runs for office, we're going to support him. So they're just a bunch of flip-floppers. This is one of the reasons why I just can't stand politics. I'm not on either side of the aisle, okay? I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I feel that, unfortunately, politics is necessary in this country, but because they know how necessary it is, a lot of things are corrupt. So, and I was actually having a conversation with a client of mine earlier today where we were discussing this, and we were just saying that, it's crazy because if it were so important, why isn't voting a mandatory thing? Why isn't it mandatory? And two, why isn't Election Day an actual holiday where we have this day off so that those who have to work, they don't have to take time off from work to go and vote? Why do they keep shutting polling places down? Why do they keep doing gerrymandering and changing the voting lines and the districts and just a lot of other sneaky, slimy things that happens in these elections? And I do believe a lot of it is by design to really make people feel like, well, you know what? It's not even worth it, so I'm not even going to try. And I understand those people's feelings that feel that way. I vote. Do I vote every single time? There are times where I haven't gotten a chance to do it and I didn't do it. And then I didn't feel that, well, would it have made much of a difference if I had done it? But then I also get it too where people feel like, well, if everybody feels that way and they don't vote, then no change can be made. I just believe that the whole system really is corrupt, and a lot of it is definitely by design. So it is discouraging, and so I do understand why a lot of people do not go forward and use their right to vote if they have it. But when it comes to Nikki Haley and her being called out by Ann Coulter with the inflammatory, honestly, things that she was saying, where she was talking about the Indian cultures, I don't know all of that stuff about them worshiping cows and them having a rat temple. Those things may be true. I don't know, because there's so many different cultures, and there are a lot of things that in one culture they do that another culture definitely will not understand, because it's not the way that they were brought up. It's not the way that they were raised, and they have a whole different way of belief and thinking. But the reason why Nikki doesn't call herself Nimarata and Haley is her married last name, people see her as Nikki Haley. She does not, in my opinion, want to be seen as an Indian woman. I'm just being honest. I believe that she wants to be seen as a whitewashed woman. And so she would prefer to be Nikki over Nimarata. And look, if you're a Nimarata, there's nothing wrong with being Nimarata. But don't use the Indian culture just for your purposes versus being who you truly were born to be, and hoping that the voters will accept you for who you are, versus saying, well, in order for me to get into these spaces that I want to be in, I'm going to have to be Nikki Haley. I cannot be Nimarata Randhawa. And that's who she is. She might have gotten married to a Caucasian man that changed her last name to Haley, and she may actually have the born middle name of Nikki, and she chooses to go by that because that's her choice to do as well. But don't think that people don't see you as Nimarata Randhawa, the person that you were born to be, because Ann Coulter is clearly letting her know that, look, lady, in my eyes, you will always be Nimarata Randhawa. And yeah, Ann Coulter may have been pissed about her taking down the Confederate flag and the Confederate statues and those different things like that, because we know how her thinking process is. People, look, if people want to be racist, they have the right to be racist. I would rather somebody be honest about it if they are racist versus acting like they're not until you actually find out that they are. But like that old saying goes, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. I hope that this is a wake-up call for Nimarata and Nikki Haley, that, listen, you might want to be in that club of whatever you want to call them. I'm not even going to say the political party, but you may want to be in that popular club of not being seen as Nimarata, but being seen as Nikki Haley, the former Republican the former Republican governor of South Carolina, and whatever her title was when she was serving in the Trump administration. You just want to be seen as that. But a lot of those people are just going to see you as Nimarata and not Nikki. So, yeah, when I saw this story, I said, you know what, I want to talk about that, because I definitely don't believe that Ann Coulter is the only one that feels that way. I just feel that right now, she's the only one that's put it out there on Front Street and is saying it out loud. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are on Nimarata Nikki Haley, Nimarata Randhawa, and Ann Coulter pretty much saying that she's a bimbo and that she needs to go back to her own country. Go back to your own country is what Ann Coulter said. She didn't say go back to your parents' country. Nimarata was born in the United States, but girl, they just see you as an immigrant, and that's it. So, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section respectfully. This is Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, keep it beautiful. And until the next time, I'm going to say bye.